What do you do when the one person you'd give your life for turns their back on you? I used to think I knew my son, Ethan. I raised him, taught him how to ride a bike, how to throw a punch, how to laugh through the pain. But after the crash, he looked at me like I was a stranger. 3 years ago, my motorbike skidded on a rain-slick road, and my world flipped upside down literally and figuratively. I survived, barely. A broken leg, a fractured collarbone, and a heart cracked deeper than any bone. Ethan, my only child, blamed me. Said I was reckless, selfish. He stopped calling, stopped visiting. My boy, my shadow, cut me out of his life like I was a bad habit. I was left with scars, silence, and a question that gnawed at me: how do you reach someone who's already gone? I'm Jack Harper, 52, a mechanic with grease under my nails and too many regrets to count. My life was never perfect, but it had rhythm. Work at the garage, beers with the guys, and weekends with Ethan, tinkering with my old Harley. He used to love that bike, the way it roared like it had a soul. When he was 16, I taught him how to ride it, his grin wide as the horizon. But after the crash, he wouldn't even look at it. Or me. I spent months in recovery, hobbling on crutches, swallowing painkillers, and pride. I called him. Left voicemails. Sent texts that sat unanswered. Each silence was a knife, twisting deeper. He was 25 now, living across town, building a life that didn't include me. I heard he was engaged, working some desk job, pretending his old man didn't exist. I could have let it go, let him drift away. But I'm stubborn. Always have been. The garage became my sanctuary. The smell of oil, the clank of toolset kept me grounded. One night, I was working late, fixing a customer's busted carburetor, when I found it, a small, dented tin box buried under a pile of junk in the back. Inside were relics of a life I'd almost forgotten. A photo of Ethan at 10, gap-toothed and proud, holding a wrench I'd given him. A cheap plastic ring he'd won at a fair and slipped on my finger, calling me the best dad. And a letter, scrawled in his childish handwriting: Dad, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Tough and cool and free. My chest tightened. I sat there, a grown man, crying like a kid. That's when I knew I couldn't give up on him. Not yet. I started writing him letters. Not texts, not emails, real letters, the kind you fold and seal and hope someone opens. I poured everything into them. Stories about the garage, apologies for mistakes I didn't know I'd made, memories of the times we'd laughed until our sides hurt. I didn't know if he read them. They never came back, but he never replied either. Still, I kept writing, every week, like a prayer I wasn't sure would be answered. It was my way of holding on, of believing he might still care. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One evening, as I locked up the garage, a woman appeared at the gate. She was small, with sharp eyes and a nervous smile. You Jack Harper? She asked. I nodded, wary. She introduced herself as Lila, Ethan's fiancée. My heart lurched. She wasn't here to reconnect us, she was here to tell me to stop. He throws your letters away, she said, not unkindly. He's angry, Jack. He thinks you chose that bike over him, over his mom. He's scared of losing you, so he's pushing you away first. Her words hit like a punch. I'd always thought Ethan's anger was about my recklessness, but fear? That was new. Lila hesitated, then added, he keeps one thing, though. That old photo of you two on the Harley. It's on his desk. He doesn't know I've seen him stare at it. I didn't sleep that night. Lila's words churned in my head. Ethan was scared. Scared of losing me. All this time, I'd thought he hated me, but maybe he was just protecting himself. I remembered the crash, not the pain, but the moment before, when I'd been riding too fast, chasing a thrill I didn't need. I'd been selfish, hadn't I? Not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I hadn't thought about how my choices rippled. I'd lost his mom years ago to cancer, and maybe he saw the crash as me risking what little family he had left. I needed to show him I understood. I needed to give him something real. The idea came slowly, like dawn creeping over a dark road. The Harley. It was still in the garage, battered but fixable, just like me. I spent weeks restoring it, every bolt and screw a kind of atonement. I polished the chrome until it gleamed, repainted the tank with the same deep blue Ethan used to love. But I wasn't fixing it to ride again. I was fixing it for him. When it was done, I wrapped a small package, a key, the photo from the tin box, and a letter. This one was different. No stories, no apologies. Just 3 sentences. I'm sorry I scared you. This bike was ours, and now it's yours. I'll always be your dad, if you'll let me. I didn't send it through the mail. I drove to his apartment, my legs still stiff from the crash, and left the package on his doorstep. The Harley, I parked in his driveway, a tarp draped over it with a note, for Ethan. Then I walked away, heart pounding, unsure if I'd just made things worse. Days passed. A week. Nothing. I told myself it was okay, that I'd tried. But the silence was heavier than ever. Then, on a rainy Tuesday, my phone rang. Ethan's name lit up the screen. I answered, my voice shaking. "Dad," he said, and that one word nearly broke me. He didn't say much else, just that he'd gotten the package, seen the bike. His voice was thick, like he was holding something back. "Why'd you do it?" he asked. I told him the truth, because he was my son, and I'd never stop trying to reach him. He didn't say he forgave me, not yet, but he asked if I wanted to grab a coffee. It was small, but it was a start. We met at a diner, the kind with sticky tables and bad coffee. He looked older, his jaw sharper, his eyes guarded. But he was there. We talked about nothing important, work, the weather, but it felt like everything. Before we left, he pulled the photo from his pocket, the one of us on the Harley. "I kept this," he said, almost shy. "I didn't want to forget you." I nodded, afraid to speak, afraid to break whatever fragile thing was growing between us. The bike still sits in his driveway. He hasn't ridden it, and maybe he never will. But that's okay. It's not about the bike. It's about what it carried me, love, my regret, my hope. Ethan and I aren't fixed, not completely. But we're talking. And sometimes, that's enough. Sometimes, you don't need to ride into the sunset. You just need to show up, scars and all, and trust that the people you love will find their way back to you.